Hi, and welcome back to another episode of
Not Life as We Know It.
Today's episode. I'm going to get into an interview that I did with my friend Richard. Now, again, we've already done some interviews on the anime side of the channel. And so before we begin, I want to remind everyone to go down below, click like, and click subscribe. Definitely every single time you put a like, it helps the YouTube algorithm figure out and recommend my videos and that kind of stuff. So definitely anything that you do like that would definitely help. If you have a comment or a story that you'd like to tell and add, maybe some questions and that kind of stuff, because I'm also always constantly collecting up responses for the questions and answers and that kind of stuff. Feel free to go down below and make a comment and that kind of stuff. That always, again, really does help. For those people who would like to support it financially, I also have the Super Thanks button, as well as the links to PayPal and Patreon down below. I do have a variety of different episodes available to the subscribers, as well as content that's not allowed to be on YouTube here. Due to the terms of service, of course. So then I will make that available to all the various Patreon members. I have compiled all the episodes of the History of Fan Anime, as well as the special subscriber episodes, all together into a big long spreadsheet. And it's basically sorted in a book-style format, so that if you want to look at a particular topic specifically, all the episodes are grouped together with the links and everything. You'll find it much more useful to use that database resource as opposed to trying to use a search engine on YouTube, because it's just, YouTube search engine is just not as effective as getting right to the information that you're looking for. Okay, so again, I invite you to do that. And again, I'd like to thank all the subscribers for your support. It really does help. And I'm going to get Richard to go through a bunch of various different topics and things that he is familiar with from his point of view. And without further delay, let's begin.
I mean, there's always ongoing joke in the Red Pill and Minus 2 community that invest in kitty litter, invest in dog food, cat food.
Yeah, and wine.
And boxed wine.
Boxed wine.
There's a reason why those stereotypes and those things as a meme develop, because that's the stereotype of a lot of these women. Invest in antidepressants. Yep. Because a lot of these women end up, if they're not self-medicating and they're addicted to one thing, they're going to try to keep themselves from going insane. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of them are on antidepressants. But then mental illness is not really dealt with as a subject where you're going to want people to be getting better. It's just something that's a prophylaxis or panacea to just keep them from going totally Looney Tunes and functioning well enough to still be productive. Whether you use a bottle of wine or you use an antidepressant, it doesn't matter.
Big pharma comes in and they don't
right, it's profiteering and capitalism again. 100%. So my focus is on this is, and I will say that I'm definitely a capitalist.
Sure.
And I want to see productivity to make money. How do you want to capitalize this? Well, the only way to capitalize off of it is to derive solutions. So if we're talking about this, do we want to preserve traditional conservative values, tradcon values, nuclear family and everything else, and move mankind towards some type of legacy or succession? Or do we want to just make money? Me, since I'm not for that other one, but if that other one helps me to derive solutions for the current dilemma, then sure. But the problem with it is you're dealing with an imbalance of power now, right? Like, for example, with the Me Too movement, women are just now believed without evidence for atrocities committed against them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Could be anything. And there's no statute of limitations. You see now with celebrities and with people in general where one can come back years later, and it could be weird. Sometimes it's like 5, 10, 15, 20, 20.
Skeletons out of the,
out of the closet
there,
and accusations made. And it's happening to women too, not only just men, but to women too, where accusations are being made without evidence. And it's based purely, supposedly, on the alleged credibility, integrity of the witness or the victim. But there's no
media.
Well, it's court of public opinion.
Exactly, yeah.
So my view of it is what kind of solutions can we derive to solve these things from escalating or getting worse? Personally, no, we're not holding people accountable, right? And there's too many people that have an easy way out to be able to say or do whatever they want. And I'm not saying that there's not victims out there. I'm not saying that there isn't people out there that got affected, but it's all for a specific agenda. Like I think we may have mentioned before, like Gloria Allred, this lawyer that represents all these women for these famous cases of Me Too, abuse, victimization, what have you. But she makes a lot of money. And the more high profile the case is, the better money she makes. And this woman's no idiot. She knows how to use a lot of those laws in her favor or for her client's favor. So if we're looking at it from the standpoint of red pill community manosphere, what solutions can we derive, right? And I don't mean solutions just for men, but to move us forward. What kind of solutions can we derive? And then men, when the red pill manosphere community, they can say, well, I'm done. I'm opting out. I don't want to deal with any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to get myself a TPE love doll from Japan or whatever it is that I want to do to compensate for not having a woman in my life. Dating, I think it's agreed, especially in the older set, that dating is a desert, right? But the thing is, then you have to look at also the things that come out from a millennia of history, right? Men have always sought beauty objects, which are women, and sought younger ones, fertile ones. They want legacy, they want succession. If not, they just want gobs and gobs of sex and variety.
Yeah.
So that's men. Women, they're resource acquirers, consolidation, collation to exploitation, right? So, and men, well, focusing on women, they're feelings-based. Men are logic-based. So when it comes to quote-unquote relationships and love, men love idealistically, women love opportunistically. And women are much more well-versed in their feelings because relative to social convention, they're well practiced to get what they want. Men, on the other hand, use their feelings purely to emote, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to work, they don't deal with that. It's just like, it doesn't matter how you feel, you just gotta get the job done. Right? Women, most of their decision-making processes are based on emotional.
Mm-hmm.
The concept that basically, men, think things out, logically, try to get things done. There's a particular purpose and kind of, an end goal that they'd like to reach, and they just like to find the quickest way to get to that end goal. Where women might think of, how it looks or what color it is and that kind of stuff. And again, I do a lot of stuff in home improvement and that kind of stuff. And it's as a handy person, I tend to like to just find out the quickest and most economical way to get something done. Okay, sure, there's some variations if you want to use more expensive parts and have it done a certain particular way. But we're more concerned about function, whereas women tend to be more about, it needs to look nice, it needs to be pretty, don't make a mess, I don't like that particular color, or this sticks out or whatever, and it's just all these other things that don't apply to the function, they just apply to what it looks like, and they don't have the concept of what it actually sort of does, right? There's a little scene from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy from the BBC, the original version, which kind of illustrates, how when you just don't consider and think about the actual purpose of what you're trying to do, as opposed to, just worrying about all these other, irrelevant type things.
Well, they gave me a couple of sticks.
Yes, and?
To make sure that by the end of the week or even the end of the month, possibly, we will
Curling
have
tongs?
a pyro capability equal
You're going to
any
die out,
other
you know that, don't you?
You are obviously being totally naive about that. Look, when you've been in marketing as long as I have, you'll know that before any new product can be developed, it has to be properly researched. I mean, we've got to find out what people want from fire. You know how they relate to it, the image.
Stick it up your nose.
Which is precisely the kind of thing we need to know. I mean, do people want fire that can be fitted nasally?
And the wheel. What about this wheel thing? They say it's a fascinating project.
Yeah, well, we are having a little difficulty there. Yeah.
Difficulty? It's the single simplest machine in the entire universe.
All right, Mr. Wise Guy, you're so clever. You tell us what color it should be.
Oh.
Well, I remember doing some of my research. I remember one person commenting about saying how men and women are raised when they're children. And in most societies, what do the women do? Well, they play house. There is no hierarchical structure in playing house or in any of the games that they play, whether it's hopscotch or playing with dolls or any of these things that they do.
Yeah.
There's none of that, right? Most of it is cooperative, but there's no social hierarchy, right?
Yes.
Whereby what do boys do? Well, everything is competitive.
Yeah.
Team sports,
Sports, yeah.
Professions, everything has a hierarchy, and they also have, there's the derivation of all of it is there's status. You have a status or you have a title,
Yeah.
right? And each one has a certain,
experience.
and each one has a certain amount of, reward and benefit associated to each, and there's a stratification of it. Whereby women is like, we're all cooking. Yeah, but there's no hierarchy in cooking. I may want to bake, you may want to make something on the stove, another person may want to prepare salad, but there's no hierarchy in it. It's just all assignment of tasks, right? There's no person that's going to lead this in doing activities like that. Same thing with women, a whole bunch of women that are going to be washing, ironing, and drying clothes. There's no hierarchy to that. Everybody can do it. But men, it's like, oh, well, you're big and strong and husky. We'll get you to do that job. Oh, you're more of a thinker. We'll get you to do that job. Oh, you're more of a tactician. You're more of a strategist. Do this. You're more of a legal guy. Do this. But with women, there's none of that because their tasks mostly are based on a communal structure, right? And then there's no competition. Then how are you going to be able to do that in the workforce? Well, that's what men do. But when you put women in there who have never been raised that way, never been familiar with that environment, and you masculinize them, well, that's great. But what guy would want to be with a woman that's masculinized? If you're getting people like that in the workforce, you're going to have leaders, right? I mean, there's a common saying where they say all these women that are successful and independent and get their bag, get their car, get their house, all this other stuff. They're working towards the men they want to be with. Well, that's why they're saying, well, you're going to try to fight somebody that's even higher value than you, but what's the point? You've already achieved it. So you technically should be happy where you're at, but they want a companion. But they still fall within the hierarchical structure and the traditional guidelines because they want to get someone higher value than them.
Yeah, they basically became the man they wanted to
Be with. Yes.
It's
Whereby with men will date down, men will settle, men will go with somebody like, because they don't care.
No,
Because it doesn't affect their status.
No, men aren't interested in status.
Well, unless a woman does something that is, of ill repute, like promiscuity and sex work and everything else, right? That's why it's over a millennia. Those things are repugnant to men.
Yeah, but that's not relationship. That's not wife material. That's just.
Well, this is what we're talking about, right?
That's just entertainment.
But there's another problem that was derived from that, which is now with the sexual revolution, the women having the ability to vote, they have been empowered to the extent that, well, there's no virtue, right? That's why guys go for younger women. That's why they will wife up a woman and coach her and groom her, and because he's a leader, he's going to be getting her to be in his frame, right? "Quote unquote," his frame of mind, right? But if a woman's going to be coming at you and she's like, "Well, I do things my thing, blah blah blah," well, you're combative, you're pain in the ass, you're argumentative, you're going to do all the things that with men that that fosters your excellence. But with a woman, it doesn't foster your excellence. And then the woman wants traditional values, but she's a modern woman, right? You're not displaying traditional behavior, so why should you be treated with traditional behavior? Well, yeah, because the status quo has existed for over a millennia, and everybody's saying, well, there's a different way of doing it. But how do you know it's a better way? It's not. There's no precedent set it over a period of time where it's shown that those ways work. People will always go back to what works. I mean, yeah, you can try to innovate and evolve to a different thing, but the will has to be there, the thinking has to be there. But okay, you're going to be a woman that's going to run this company. Can you perform like men do? If you can't perform like a man, why would we put you there? It's not even that. It goes even something to simpler than that. Who derived originally most of those systems and most of those disciplines? Who derived them all? Who sourced them all? It wasn't women. It's mostly men. It is the vision and the innovation derived from men's ideas, not women. I'm sure people will always say, well, there was women inventors and women engineers. Yeah, but if you look in general, men built the world.
100%, yes.
Right? So if we derive those disciplines and you're learning them in universities and trade schools and these institutions, and you're a feminist, so to speak, or you're a modern woman that subscribes to feminist ideals, you're contradicting yourself because you didn't derive the system. So you attribute it as being the patriarchy. Well, you're functioning a patriarchy. If your matriarchy worked all this time, where is it?
100%.
Where are your institutions and where are your trade schools and where are all these organizations from the matriarchy that has contributed to society moving forward or to civilization moving forward? Where are they? If they're not there, then you're always going to exist predominantly in the patriarchy. So you're an opportunist, if not a parasite, right?
Yeah, but yes.
And if you're taking that and you're basing your system of matriarchy on somebody else's work, then you're a plagiarist, if not a plagiarist, a thief. So you're not starting from scratch, right?
Yeah.
So this is the elephant in the room that people are afraid to talk about, because you're going to be deflected. You're going to be called a misogynist, part of the patriarchy, a chauvinist, whatever. But regardless of what it is what it is, right? So you're not innovating anything. You're just relabeling something, recategorizing something, and making it your own. But you really didn't.
There was a book that was released by Dr. John Gray almost 35 years ago called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. And it just goes over some of the differences in how men and women function. And to think that that we are equal in any way in the way that how we think and how we how we should have the same sort of goals and same sort of should I say expectations, what we look what we look for in our partners and whatnot. To think that should be equal or the same is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, obviously people. I mean, this person knew about this stuff 35 years ago, and here we are, with trying with equality and all that kind of stuff. Trying to think, we're trying to be identical, all this masculine energy and all that kind of stuff going on, and there was clearly defined, boundaries and expectations and biologically and socially and all that kind of stuff that were already laid out 35 years ago. I mean, they knew about this stuff, yet they're trying to go against the grain and trying to going against stuff that just doesn't work. And usually what happens when things just don't work, they go back to the things that do work. They go back to ways that that was known and proven to be done and to be working. So maybe this thing is just is all a big fad and phase and I always would say with with heavy metal music and that kind of stuff and rap and all this sort of stuff, if it is a really bad idea and if it's crap, then the people who subscribe to it will live and die with that genre. Period. Right? It's just and and I guess I always like to use rap music as an example because I don't listen to modern rap, okay? Obviously the generation who does listen to it, okay, that's in their generation, that's their sort of thing.
But my kids aren't listening to that stuff. I mean, they'd much rather listen to EDM stuff and whatnot rather than listen to rap crap. So the next generation doesn't care about it. The previous generation, my generation, doesn't care about it. So really, the people who only care about it is the people who grew up with that in their generation, and then they will take that to the grave with them. And and maybe that's the way that this will work too. So who knows?
I have no problem with people that can do that and come in and do it. It's like, you want to do all the work, go ahead. I have no problem with it. But if you don't have the people that are able to do that from scratch and not relying on legacy of somebody else's work, predominantly men's, right, then I just say you're just participating in that same organization that you loathe, right? Now, going back to relationships and getting women wanting to have families and kids and be wifed up and everything, well, at the point where you're going to reach all that success, no person's going to want to be with you, because either you, through your body count or your questionable fertility, more investment into you for whatever baggage or damage you have, or whatever issues you haven't resolved. It's not like you're going to be a born-again Christian and you'll be a born-again virgin. You carry your history. And there's a lot of stuff there that you may even have to undo. But you're trying to undo 30 years of behavior, right? I mean, unless you're getting a lobotomy, how are you going to do that, right? And if you're not going to be willing to do that, then it's going to be a lot of work. So what are the men doing? They'll either be passport bros, or they'll try to, seduce, groom, and coach someone that is not imprinted that way. Although it's harder in North America, right? Because of the elephant in the room we talked about earlier, which is the 19th Amendment and the sexual revolution. Right? There's no accountability for that behavior.
Absolutely not.
So that's why I'm looking at where the opportunities for the solutions are.
Yeah.
That you go out and get your passport and look elsewhere. I mean, obviously, if you're not finding a woman that you're in the West here that isn't already been poisoned by the well, then you have to look elsewhere. A lot of Asian countries and that kind of stuff where the focus is on the family unit. Okay, there's a greater connection or importance to the completion of making a family, keeping the families together. A lot of advice and teachings have been brought from the parents, both parents, okay, to the children about how to the importance of the family and that kind of stuff, and less of this requiring to go to work and doing all these other things. And that's not to say that you don't go to university and you don't go find jobs and that kind of stuff, but the ultimate happiness and the ultimate achievement isn't the fact that you've become a slave to to an office position. It is to basically show off your family, your children, your legacy. That is what's going to be that outlives how much money you make and your achievements. Because on the end of the wall, I mean, what are you gonna do? Just a piece of paper on the wall that says you've got a degree, or some name tag that's on your door that says that you're some sort of officer of this particular company. I mean, no one cares, right? It's in the end, the ability to to show other people that these are your your children, what they've done, what they've achieved. I mean, those are the moments that you want to be proud of. And again, if you can't find it here, get your passport and find somewhere else that will have that kind of stuff. And again, I've done an episode where a lot of people in the animation group here, that's exactly what they've done. They just they've not found anything here that suits their needs.
Okay, so again, we'll have to continue this interview in the next episode. So again, we'll have to hit like and subscribe so we will get the more of those episodes when they come out, right? So, until next time, I will see you again.